artillery firing in honor of Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi in Australia. Suu Kyi received a ceremonial military welcome in Canberra on Monday. The apparently warm welcome belies harsh criticism of Suu Kyi by Australian lawyers who have filed a private case against the Myanmar leader over the country's treatment of Rohingya Muslims. The lawyers have said Suu Kyi and her government must be tried for alleged crimes against humanity. After officially receiving her, Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said he would raise human rights issues during Suu Kyi's visit. Turnbull later said he spoke at considerable length during their talks about Myanmar's Rakhine state, which has been the focal point of a deadly crackdown on the Rohingya for the past few years.
I think it's very good that the lawyers have taken this action. I mean, the action itself needs the approval of the Attorney General in Australia for it to have standing with the International Criminal Court. But I think it has served the purpose very clearly of highlighting the role of Aung San Suu Kyi in the ethnic cleansing of the Rohingya, and also by the fact that the Attorney General won't give his consent, won't give the government's consent, for the application. I think it has also shown the level to which the Australian government is complicit.
Suu Kyi's visit to Australia followed her attendance at the ASEAN summit in Sydney over the weekend, which drew street protests on Saturday. Anger has been mounting with her in the international community over the atrocities against the Rohingya, but Suu Kyi, along with other Myanmar officials, have so far been spared genuine pressure.
The visit of Aung San Suu Kyi to Australia has been an opportunity. We've seen demonstrations by the Rohingya community in Australia against Aung San Suu Kyi and against the policies of the Turnbull government in Australia, which has turned a blind eye to their predicament.
The silence on the situation in Rakhine state has emboldened those involved in the crackdown on Rohingya Muslims. Rights groups are lamenting the lack of success in forcing the Myanmar government to change its attitude. The repression of the minority group shows no signs of ending.
So often the case is that human rights internationally, that governments internationally place human rights below their own national interests. So the Australian government, for example, both because of its national interest in Southeast Asia, that it's more interested in maintaining relations with the regime in Myanmar because of trade considerations, other political considerations. It's taken a very hard line itself against Rohingya refugees, for example. It's the case, that we have a world in which human rights is very much a secondary consideration to the national interests of governments.
Many accuse Suu Kyi of being two-faced, saying her silence on the dire situation of the Rohingya has exposed her hypocrisy. The Myanmar leader has chosen to remain largely silent on the killings in Rakhine state. Since coming to power in 2016, Suu Kyi has been criticized repeatedly for failing to condemn or stop military attacks on her country's minority Rohingya Muslims.
To Aung San Suu Kyi, we've been defending you. We've been working for your release. We've been protesting, promoting the democracy that you believe in. We've been promoting you for decades, and now you're turning your back against us and you're associating yourself with those human rights abusers and genocidal troops. That is a shame, and a shame on you.
The UN says nearly 700,000 Muslim Rohingya have fled Myanmar to Bangladesh since August 25, 2017 alone. Suu Kyi won the 1991 Nobel Peace Prize for what was described as her struggle for democracy in Myanmar. Over the past couple of years, the chorus of calls for her to be stripped of the prize has been growing. Some are even demanding that she be prosecuted at the International Criminal Court over the crackdown in Myanmar, which has been described by the UN as a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. A contemporary novelist who used to be Suu Kyi's admirer has criticized her over the treatment of the Rohingya, citing a quotation from Abraham Lincoln to back up her resentment of the Myanmar leader. Quote, "Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." unquote.